Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I am your humble host, Mr. David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers, and I greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite creator. And I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings out in the universe. Now, I just wanted to say hi today. There's not any particular special messages. Hey, Chloe. Yeah, I'm finally the lightning ball that hit the house yesterday exploded. I don't mean it went boom. Hi, witch moon. I mean this thing exploded. And right by the door over there is where the hey Diane, a big hug back at you. Um, and so when I went outside yesterday, the electric folks got here really quick. I'm very surprised and very happy about the whole thing in that respect. But Duggar and I were in here, and there's a pretty decent thunderstorm going on overhead. And I mean, there's some good booms and bangs, and it sounded more like cannon fire than it did like thunder. And having been to a couple of reenactments, I know what cannon fire sounds like. And this was like cannons going off, right? But there's this bright white light that just boom. Me and him both jumped. I know I wet myself a little bit. I'm not sure if Duggar did. I know he couldn't stop shaking. He was just trembling. And so I went outside and they got the electricity back on, and which very grateful uh, that it wasn't something else. But so my TV's fried, and I started looking around the house. And then while I was outside, I was like, I wonder why my phone won't work. And there's a big gray electrical panel right where the phone comes into the house. Big, nice panel, plastic, and it's screwed in, right? The door of this thing was blowed open. I mean, it was blowed open. So, these pretty heavy duty screws that hold the door shut were just stripped, just boom. And the wires were just kind of hanging out of the box. So no, no, I wasn't going to get internet or phone or anything in the house, right? So the phone guy's here early this morning. God bless him. I mean, like 9:15, he's here and starting to rewire the place and everything. And as I'm going down through the phone lines, I realized that it literally blew the end of the phone line off. The and that's like going through the house and going and up through the phone lines and through the house. It blew the cover off of the modem, the um, um, plug into the wall inverter thingy. It blew the cover off. Um, and I mean, parts were laying on the floor and some parts were still plugged into the wall. And it was like, oh my God. So as we started checking the phone lines in here, it's killed every phone that I had plugged in. I had this little inverter plugged into the wall in there with nothing plugged into it, and it fried it simply because it was plugged into the wall. I mean, I don't know what else has been fried electronically, but it went down the phone lines and through the electrical system in the house. And anything that had any kind of chip in it that was fragile, it fried it. It fried it. Now I'm very grateful. Now it didn't, which is one of the things that was interesting. It didn't trip any breakers in the house. I mean, it's like it didn't trip a breaker, but it blew every phone up and anything that was connected to the phone. I don't know why it blew up this little inverter. but it fried it, as, and so I'm like, um, okie doke. So tomorrow I have a doctor's appointment, which is just my regular kind of. Richard's in the house. Hey, buddy, how are you? Witch Moon, it's good to see you. Yeah, thank the universe. Yeah, what I'll tell you what. I've lived in Tampa, which is like the lightning capital of the world. And growing up, there was lightning and thunderstorms down there that were just amazing. And then the boom, 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 the lightning would, the thunder would boom. Just there was no let up. And we've had some really good ones here in South Georgia, let me tell you. And the one the other morning, it was surprising because usually those kind of thunderstorms happen in the evening, afternoon or evening, right? But this was like first thing in the morning. But anyway, boom, 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 the lightning and thunder's going off, and bam, here in the house. And but here's one of the interesting things. Um, that I'm sure this is. I don't have caller ID, so I can't scream. Hello, hello. Not well, thank you. There you go. Um, what storms here in the UK the other week? Really humid here today. Yeah, the humid. Knock on wood. The humidity's not too bad, and the temperatures about 60. I'm sorry, about 75 degrees, which is sometimes when it's like this, it's really. Yeah, caller ID is essential. It blew up every phone I had. Man, I'm just like, so tomorrow I get to go to Walmart and get a new television set, and I'm going to have to get a new, um, you know, phone with caller ID and everything, which it was about time. My house phone, which is it's got batteries in it, wore down a bunch and everything. But, you know, here's one of the things that just amazed me at how it stripped the wire. um, you know, well, that's not the wire. I thought I had a piece of it, but anyway, it literally just heated up so quickly that it just stripped the wire. And the phone guy was like, I wonder if this phone works. And he's holding it. And I grabbed the line and I said, I don't think so, because the wire had literally been burned in two. It wasn't even connected anymore. So the power of lightning, oh my God. So what I was thinking of is that what was that white light that blew up? Hey, Joe, how are you? And so one of the things uh, I was thinking of, and was sort of, have been discussed here recently in some of the programs I watch, was about plasma and what it is and what it looks like and how it reacts, and, plasma. So it's like, well, okay, and it's a very odd kind of thing. So, but what blew the door off of that phone box is there was no explosives. There's nothing in there. They're just phone lines coming into the house. There was, they're just connectors in there. So what blew the door off of the phone thing? And the white light that was just boom here, where that little window is over in the corner. Here, let me see if I can show y'all. Sorry. There's a TV in the stereo, and over here to the, hang on. Yeah, on this side over here, there's a window right there. near the stereo. And that's where the phone line is. And Duggar, say hi. There's Duggar boy laying down in front of his windows. But does my face look washed out? It looks like it on the thingy. Who looks 10 years younger? Me? But anyway, so in thinking about it is just like, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Um, I'm trying to do better. But anyway, so the white light that came through, I'm a guessing that came through that window over there, which is where the phone box is. So the the pole outside is a good distance away. The house is in the way. So where this bright white light came from, that was so bright white and so close, whereas I don't think I would have gotten that white light where there's bushes and stuff that are in the way from the telephone, the light, the electricity pole out there. So I'm thinking here this afternoon, like, what the hell blew up, that door? What blew all the phone lights? What it blew up everything. I'm sure there are a couple of other items I haven't found that have blown up. Um, I don't know what, but we'll see. And no, I don't have home ownership. Hey, Scotty boy. But so my current suggestion is what blew the door off of the phone box out there had to have been plasma because it blew open like there was an explosive, some type of explosive in there. I mean, I remember the days of using M80s and firecrackers and stuff, and that when M80 might have, the old M80s, the ones that were like this big with a fuse out the side, the real ones, and the cherry bombs back in the 60s and early 70s, them was real firecrackers, let me tell you. Them things would take a hand off, and that ain't no lie. And almost did at one time. I was anyway. Uh, enough about firecrackers at the moment, but I remember the explosive power of a cherry bomb when you put it in a mailbox and how it would blow the door open. And so there was enough explosive force inside that phone box over there to blow it open like a cherry bomb would have blown it open. But there was no smoke. There's no charred remains on it. There was, I mean, you get something electrical short and short, you get a charring, of the wires and stuff. None of that. I mean, none of the plastic fittings, for the connectors. None of that was melted, for example, but it blew the door open. So it happens so quickly. It didn't even have a chance to burn anything except like here in the house where these phone lines were coming in. And I mean the phone line that you hook to the phone, to the back of the phone, it was burnt. It was burnt. So the base for the house phone burnt. The power supply for the base for the house phone burnt. And I've looked around. I thought I had another one, but I don't. And the one I have is like low voltage. But anyway, so the power of lightning, don't go standing under a tree or whatever they say to do, but I would rather stand under a tree in a thunderstorm than stand out in the open in a field. You know, how everybody doing well? They work underwater. What does? Okay, now I want to see what works underwater. Oh, M80s. Oh, they work underwater. Yeah, those were the ones that they used to flush down the toilets in the old a porcelain toilet to pieces. Yeah, that's that. Yeah. Hey, Witch Moon. My spine seems to be healing. Um, I'm still having a decent amount of bone pain. And muscular pain from not walking a lot, but standing up for 10 minutes hurts. And I got to find a chair. But I made it to the top of the driveway today to get the mail and dump garbage, and I didn't use my cane. I kind of sort of forgot, but I just trudged on up there and I made it up there and back. And so I still got some therapy to go. I got one more session of therapy next week. Um, and I've got exercises that I do with the legs and so forth to help me strengthen my lower spine and everything without hurting as much as possible. But with all the grinding that he did on my spine, and when I had finally got that mindset about bone pain, I was like, I'm just going to have to work through this, as difficult as it has been at times. Just going to have to put because I don't have any choice really, because I done opted out on my choices by having the surgery. So, but anyway, so yeah, I'll get there. Hey, Miss Pearl. So, lifting things and moving things and stuff, concentrating on just being able to get up and down out of the chair, which I am doing. Getting out of the chair is much easier than it was a couple of weeks ago. So, hi, Mossy Man. How are you? Kane, you look more like a tall staff guy more than a cane. Well, that is true. And I do have lots of different walking sticks, and I do have one that's like a staff. It's a really cool one too, all kind of bent up at the top, like a Gandalf kind of thing. Um, but no, and getting around, being able to use the palm of my hand to rest upon versus cling to, um, makes a difference. So in walking with the cane, there are times when you hopefully are not going to stumble, but when you do, a staff will hold you. You can cling to like the bar in a subway, but you know it doesn't keep you from falling. So, but a cane, on the other hand, you can put your palm of your hand in it and push down on, and that can keep you from falling. So I'm at the stage now where the cane is more necessary than a walking staff. But I don't go anywhere without a walking stick. I mean, there's 4 or 5 of them right inside the door over there. In case somebody wants to go hiking with me, I'll say, "Here, grab a stick." Never go back in the back without a walking stick. In case there's a snake or something, you can flick them out of the way, and they just come in handy. Especially if you're going to a gooey spot. But my use of the cane now, and here, let me show you my cane is not a traditional one. This is a stick that I got out of the woods, and I cleaned it up and burnished it up, and it fits my hand really well. This rise right here fits the palm of my hand, and I can put my thumb on this for support. Um, but it's really strong. And then I put a rubber tip on it, like a normal cane, so you don't go slipping around. And I had to whittle the end off a little bit, and then I put some glue on it to make sure it stayed in there. But I found this, stick in the woods, and years ago, and I cleaned it up, like I say. I need to do a little work on this back end here, though, because prolonged walking with it, this little nub right there digs into the palm of my hand, and I need to sand that off a little bit and give it a little better angle. But as far as being a trusty friend, and now the only thing wrong with this is I can't hang it anywhere. You know, normal canes are nice and curved and you can hang them in places, you know. You can hang them over here, drape them over this, you know, but this one you can't hang on shit. You know, you have to lean it, and sometimes sometimes that's very inconvenient, you know. But me and my little cane here, even when I try to stand, this thing barely bends, and as much as pressure as I put on it. So that cane has been a good friend of mine for many years now. I've had it, I guess, at least 10 years. I would guesstimate. Because of my bad left leg from football, you know, there are days when I just, you know, like, let me grab my cane. My knee's a little weak, and let me grab my cane. So, but anyway, so that's that. It's a whooping stick for some in the South. Yeah, I would agree with that. You know, we had names for him back in the day. An attitude adjuster. Yeah, we should dress it up. Maybe shaving that nub, wrap some leather around the end. You can make a. It gets. I was going to try something like that. You know, like a lanyard, and it would just get in the damn way. But yeah, the other end. You know, if you grab the other end, you could whoop somebody really good with it. You know. And it has come in handy for just, you know, pushing stuff across the floor or adjusting things. Or, you know, I was getting in the truck the other day and I used my cane and grabbed the door to pull it to me instead of leaning out the vehicle so far. So, but don't put curb feelers on it. I used to walk and stick. I opted for the old style hospital one, as I think for self deference it would crack skulls. Yeah, I got a really good walking stick. I got several of them. One stays in the back of the truck at all times in case I go somewhere and I need a walking stick. Anytime I go kayaking, there's always a walking stick in the kayak with me for several reasons. Um, Peace be to you, Mossy Man. You have a great day, my friend. The rest of it, what's left. But I just wanted to come on here. Oh, it's 20 after. Oh, it's 5:25. Crap in a bag. I wanted to smoke a 20 with y'all because it is just then. Yes, beat the gators off and the snakes. If a snake comes wiggling around, sometimes you can't get the paddle to it, but you can get that stick underneath that snake and flick it for a long ways. You know, snake flicking ought to be a pastime. Well, down here in the South it used to be, but so one thing I'm talking with, talking with all today and doing this live stream is to check and see if my modem is working and if the live stream would work. And I haven't seen me glitch at all so far. And I'm assuming, you know, that the connection is better. When I did the speed test, it showed my upload speed just going wacko. And yeah, I'm glad. So um, it depends on the snakes, Richard. You know, I was talking with a guy that showed was here the other day, and we were discussing snakes. And he goes, you know, there's good snakes and there's bad snakes, but no, most people don't realize it. And you know, when you know what a king snake is, you know, you want them around the house. You know, you want a king snake. As much as you might not like them, you want a king snake because a king snake will eat a rattlesnake. You know, so it's like they're almost like a protector snake. King snakes are. That's why thus the name king. You know, But folks will beat them and kill them, and no, please don't do that. So a lot of snakes don't get any respect. And for folks down here in the South, when you got mice and rats and stuff, you want a certain amount of snakes around your house because they keep the rat population down, they keep the mice population down, and a lot of other just little critters and stuff that you just, if it weren't for the snakes, you'd see more of them, kind of thing. But you got to respect them and you got to pay attention. And as many years as I've been down here, I've only seen two rattlesnakes in 40 years and two moccasins in 40 years. Now, I ain't to say that there aren't moccasins around, but, and my next, Sheila, my next door neighbor now, they got moccasins, but they got a little creek that literally runs right beside the house. I mean, from the distance from my house to the truck out there, which is about 25 feet, they got they've got a little creek that runs through there. And and the snakes love it, the frogs and the things and the stuff. And so, but I don't have a creek. It's back yonder. So snakes ain't crawling around my house like they do theirs. But the higher up the hill you go, the less, problem you're going to have with snakes, by the way. I haven't heard from them in about a week, but they heard about my neck and um I had migraines for the last week, and I've been very quiet and very, the top of my head hurt. It still is tender from the hair, but they brought me. She lent me her heating pad. Thank goodness. That's another thing I need to get at Walmart tomorrow when I'm in there. It's a heating pad. But anyway, I haven't seen Miss Sheila, but hopefully she's doing all right. They stay busy with, they do sheetrock work and that kind of thing. And so sometimes their, work takes them away from town, and sometimes they're on the road for an hour both ways. And, but I haven't heard from her in about, I guess, almost a week now. But at least you didn't turn into Dan Brinkley? Who's that? I touched one when I was a kid at the zoo. A python. It was big. I was amazed. The skin was dry and quite rough. I didn't like it. Odd creature. And the same with spiders over the size of a coin. Um, Richard, I'm still that way about spiders. Okay. But, there's a we'll call an oak snake down here. They're beautiful pattern on the back, and to some they look like rattlesnakes because they sort of have a crosshatch pattern. But there's a one that has been living around my house here for at least 20 years. At least 20 years. Okay. And this snake is going on 8 feet long. And people, there are folks who say that, that an oak snake won't get over 6 foot. I'm here to tell you that's a lie. If you leave them be and don't kill them, they keep growing. I don't know if they necessarily have a peak, but the last time I saw this oak snake, it looked like a python. It's huge. It could swallow a small cat. Okay, it could swallow a kitten easily. All right, maybe I don't think it could swallow a full size cat. Maybe depending on the size of the cat, but oh my God, this thing is huge. It is huge, and and I know that it's pushing 8 feet because I had a hold of its head, and I'm 5'11", and it was at least 6 or 8 inches over my head, and the tail was on the ground and still going at least a foot away from me. So that was at least 6.5 to 7 foot. the last time I saw it, you know, and not aggressive or anything. It just, went between my legs and on out to the garden out there. And I was like, well, hi, how you doing? And it crawled out of my house from over the bathroom back there. So, but people are like, oh my God, you got a snake around your house. It lives in your house? Yeah, it's somewhere above the bathroom back there. It's got a hole in from the back side of the house that isn't finished. And it's got a place that crawls up in there. And especially in the wintertime when it's cold and I can hear thumping sometimes in there and when it's moving around. And, you have a snake in your house somewhere back there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, been there for the last bunch of years. I seen it in the shed out there. I used to see it all the time when I had chickens because it'd steal some eggs and I'd let it have an egg or two, mind you. But it ate a couple of my chickens and I didn't take too kindly to that one. But the idea though that, oh, all snakes are bad and the devil, and if you see a snake, it's Lucifer and stuff like that. It's like, we got no snakes in Hawaii. Honest to God, I would have thought that, Hawaii being a tropical island would have some kind of species of snake. Uh, no snakes in Hawaii. Wow. You really could go barefoot there then, huh? That's an interesting thing, Scotty boy. I did not know that. Um, we've lost a lot of species of snakes around here. They used to have rattlesnake roundups in the fall around here. There aren't any rattlesnakes anymore. They chased them all out, killed them. Otherwise, there aren't any rattlesnakes anymore. Now, I'm not a proponent for rattlesnakes, but I haven't seen a rattlesnake in years not crossing the road. Old timers used to kill the rattlesnakes and hang them on the fence post or if it was nearby, they would hang it over their mailbox. And people would say, woo, Joe just killed a rattlesnake in the neighborhood and he draped it over his mailbox. So everybody in the neighborhood knows to beware that there's this rattlesnake came was in my yard, so people it wakes people up to pay attention, right? There ain't been a rattlesnake on a fence post or on a mailbox or anything in at least 20 years. At least 20 years. 2003, this is 2023, at least 20 years, if not more. So, I hate to see the demise of the rattlesnake in South Georgia. Now, that's not to say that there aren't any, but there are a whole bunch less than there used to be. It's, and the amount of moccasins that I used to see when I was on the river before, they're not there. But consequently, the amount of brown uh, water snake that is native to South Georgia, and there's another one that is similar, are in decline as well. So, how do I get from lightning strikes to snakes, right? Well, that lightning had to snake across the ground and come up through the ground rod. It's snaked across the ground. That lightning snaked its way all the way through my house. And there is a relationship. I'll find one, but it's been a half an hour and yeah, and that's the whole thing, the fact that there are snakes around my barns and stuff, I expect it after all these years. I do because the woods is right there. And so, and I've had them in the house. A couple of weeks ago, there was one that was right over here in the bathroom that stuck his nose out around the corner. I was like, oh, look, wonder how he was about 4 foot long, and went out the way he came in. But, and it was a small oak snake, probably one of the babies from that big snake that I was just talking about. But, it is what it is. And if they're in the house looking for mice, you know, go for it, because there's a couple of them running around here just, look like Chip and Dale kind of thing. Um, but they chew into boxes of stuff and things, and they're just, I can put up with the mouse itself, but not with what it does. Its destructive chewing is insanity. But hey, Joe, well, I'd also hang a rattlesnake for another reason. People intimidation. If I dealt with the rattlesnake, I deal with anyone else just as dangerous. That's a very good point, Joe. That's a very good point. I blow this rattlesnake's head off with my 12 gauge. I can get you too if you come in the yard. That's true. But most Southerners, most of the neighbors like around here. I mean, God, I've been in this neighborhood now for 40 years. Back, when we first sort of knew each other, uh, it was sort of given that you had a 12 gauge, or at least a 410 in the house. I mean, if you live in the country, most people have a shotgun. Now, I can't have one. The one I did have was a 20 gauge. It was a beautiful single shot, Remington, but they confiscated it because I had, marijuana growing in my backyard. So, but most people would have a single shot shotgun just for that reason, for snakes, or for any coyotes or anything that might come around. It's expected, almost. Now the closer you get to town, you know, but folks that live in the country, I would expect my neighbors to have a 12 gauge or a 20 gauge or something. I would expect them to have one. Not just for, well, varmints come in all sizes. You've got 6 foot tall white people that are varmints. Uh, you know, you've got four-legged varmints, but we have snake catching poles and set them free if not a threat. Yeah, right. We only have a handful of snakes, adders, and grass snakes. I netted a grass snake about 15 years ago while out fishing. It was 4 foot long and very angry. Remember a doctor's appointment, TV, phone, and heating pad. Yep, yep. Oh, I won't forget. Now the heating pad, I might forget, but the TV. Now I got to say, it's been very interesting. Now it's only been a little. It's been 36 hours. 24 to 36 hours with quote without the television. But as I talked to my friend who just came out of open heart surgery, and he's in a halfway house and rehab center. God bless him. He's a year younger than me. But us old people got to stick together as a single white, well, black men too, but us single men, old guys that don't have anybody to help us look after us. And that's not necessarily in a bad way, because we have gotten along for many years by ourselves and have learned how to deal with that. But the older you get, it's nice just to have somebody just around, you know. Not necessarily to, be your slave or anything like that. Just to be around, you know, to reassure you that if you fall on the floor, there's somebody around, you know, or whatever. But anyway, um, and I really lost track with that one. Yeah, I know that, Chloe, and I got lots of other folks that wish for the same thing, and it's not like I need like constant attention or anything. But it's like there just been a couple of times I just wish somebody had been around. I got through it okay, and I'm still here, but it would have been a little easier, if somebody else could have been here for 5 minutes, or maybe 10, but um, and that's not really a bitch or anything. It's just like just sometimes, and sometimes is that you just wish you had somebody to have a chat with. You just, it's not necessarily loneliness, or maybe it is. Now, for other people, I would say it is loneliness. For me, it's not like, oh, I miss somebody and I'm so lonely. And no, because I'm a talkative kind of person. Yeah, did y'all notice this? Only problem is rats and nocturnal mongoose, rat and a mongoose problem. Oh my goodness. That's why I ain't gonna stay around to get that old. I said the same thing, Scotty boy. When I was 45, I said there's no way I'll make it past 65. If I make it to 70, here I am at 70 looking back going, what the hell was I thinking? you know. So be careful, because I said the same thing. I said, man, I'll never, the way I lived and the chances I took and stuff like that. And I was like, man, I'll never make it. I'll be out of here before any of this stuff happens. Well, then stuff happens. And then you find out all of a sudden I'm 70 years old. I'm a bitch. How did I get here? And, I thought I'd be gone by now. And so, you know, um, wishing it now and then when you get there. So pay attention to what's going on around you. We know, understand exactly what you mean. Yep, always have known. Maybe a little concern or better peace of mind are helpful at times. Yep. Well, I hope y'all are lying. You know, that's true. No one knows. But I hope y'all are lying. I hope your information is wrong. But because I know mine was. But there are different ways of dying. And I know that back a few years ago, I actually, went through a dying spell, if you will. And, a total kind of sort of personality change. And I came out of the swamp after 3 days and with a totally different attitude and the slight ability to see some spirits. And just, oh boy. So, that was a death of sorts in its own way without the full physical death. But anyway, I love you all. I'm going to quit yakking. I'm going to be live with Robert V tonight. This was more or less a test to see if cameras and everything still worked, but accept it possibly more than not increase it is truth. Not. Yeah. So it looks like I haven't seen any jumping around with the camera or the video, so I'm happy with the modem. So far, so good. So until later, I always continue to pray that each and every one of you will continue to learn to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many, many blessings from the universe. And always know I love you. I do. And even when I'm not around and lightning strikes, I still think good thing. Good night, Richard. It's always good to see you. Yeah, all went well with the tech. Yeah, it looks like I got stuff I got to replace, but it could have been worse. Catch you later, Joe. Same with you too, and Chloe. I'll talk to y'all later. I don't know if I'm going to do a live stream after the show tonight with Robert, but maybe, and we'll see how I feel. All right. So, but I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings in the universe, especially the love that is always out there if you know how to receive it. Grab a hold of it and catch a little bit if you need it. because I continue to pray. This is the law of three that's important to you and me's. I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings in the universe. So stay square. Thank you, Scotty Boy. Peace out to all y'all. And, you know, cheers, my dear friends. Remember, there's still a war going on. And we will hope that you will do your best as time goes on and that you're doing your best right now. And so always remember, if somebody says, well, I don't know if you could do a better job, but if you can do a better job, then do so. But if not, just look at them and say, I'm doing the best I can. Now, that's an honest question. Are you really doing the best you can? Just think about it. But if somebody's complaining at you, just look at them in the eye and smile and say, I'm doing the best I can. Of course, if that's the truth. All right. Until later, my friends, peace out and cheers.